Oh my god. Run, 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 run. No, 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 no. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I got invited by Blackthornprod to participate in a game competition for $3,000. Of course, I agreed because I wanted $3,000. The competition would be split into 3 weeks with elimination rounds between each week until one developer was crowned the victor. There are some other twists and turns, but we'll get to those later. Blackthornprod gave all the competitors a theme they would have to incorporate into their game, which was strange machines. My first idea was a horror game where you would be hunted down by a half-human, half-car creature. It would be set in a junkyard, and you would have to find scrap to repair your car in order to escape. Normally I make games in Unity, but for this competition and due to the recent mistakes Unity had been making, I decided to give Godot a shot. I had never made a game with Godot before and had only briefly messed around with it, so I was taking a risk, but the thought of starting a new game in Unity frankly made me a little sick. So I booted up Godot and made a new project. I started my first week of development by making the level generator, which worked by loading an image and creating these junk tiles wherever there was a black pixel. I planned to make the game based on a grid because I imagined it would make the AI a lot easier to program and levels easier to design. Next, I started work on the design of the enemy. I got this realistic human teeth model and this car, and basically spent a few hours mushing them together. Rigging and weight painting took quite a while, but it was worth it in the end. Next, I worked on the car AI, which was by far the most time-consuming part of this week. It took a lot of tweaking to get perfect, but after I added sound effects, it started to actually feel like a horror game. The environment was getting a bit stale, so I added a lot of decorations and variety to help bring it to life. I needed some way to justify why you ended up in a junkyard, and I decided that a cutscene in the main menu would be the perfect way to do that. The idea was, you got into a car crash on a mountaintop highway and swerved off into a junkyard. Your car got busted up, and now you need to find parts to repair it. This was the main mechanic of the game. You would have to explore the level to find car parts, which you brought back to the car. When you pick up a part, your speed slows down, and it's easier for the monster to catch you. So you have to be strategic about when you carry or leave an item. And if you mess up, well... Once you collect 4 tires for your car, you can drive away and finally be safe. Or are you? And that concludes the first week of development. Time for the judging.
So what we're
I'm not sure I like this crotch shot from Wishbone.
No. I'm not wearing anything down here, so I really need to frame it perfectly.
That's great.
I'm not gonna lie, this Discord call was one of the most stressful experiences I have ever had. I was nervous the entire time, and as the names kept getting called and I wasn't getting moved on to the next round, I started to get really worried.
Every dev, super impressive work. So it was a very difficult decision.
So the first one is, drumroll, Wishbone.
Yes! Okay, yes! Oh my god, thank you. I love you, judges.
The second contestant that will make it to the next round is Fluffy Potato.
Congratulations, Fluffy Potato. So third developer that moves on is Rug.
Oh my god, dude, thanks God.
Rug moves on.
Well done, man.
With
Well done.
his fascinating monster. He's designed this creature, quite terrifying, you'll all see. And I love that. And for me, that had also the wow factor, a cool vibe, such a unique feel where he mashed up basically a truck with this horrific creature full of teeth and stuff.
I was super relieved to have made it onto the next round, but I knew after seeing all the other developers' games, I would really have to step it up if I wanted to win. For the second week, I decided to make a new level set in a lumberyard in the forest, featuring a new crane enemy that would attack from above. I wanted each enemy to have some organic element to it, so the crane's was a giant eyeball attached to the claw, which it would use to look for the player. I decided to try using procedural textures in Blender, which let me get this really nice looking rust effect. Godot's inverse kinematic system also made it surprisingly easy to get the crane arm to move how I wanted it to. And just like that, after I'd finished modeling some props for the level, Blackthornprod dropped a midweek twist. Each developer got to force another dev to add something from a list of items Blackthornprod had come up with to their game, like add 100 flying enemy toilets, or add realistic fart noises to every mechanic and interaction. Thankfully, Blackthornprod realized it was probably a bit much, and we got a different twist instead. We had to spin the Wheel of Misfortune and get a random new theme to incorporate into our game. Metamorphosis? Alright. After brainstorming for a while, I settled on the idea that the level would be metamorphosizing. Yeah. Originally, I had planned for the crane to search around the map and attack you, but with the new theme, I decided to add a new behavior to it. I added these shipping containers that the crane can pick up and move around the map. With the map constantly changing, it's easier to get disoriented or have your path cut off, so you need to be alert and agile. And of course, you don't want to stand directly under them. This also created some interesting interactions between the crane and the car. No bro, he's letting the car out. This asshole. Next, I worked on the crane's other behavior. It would go to a random spot on the map and look for the player. If you happen to walk into its spotlight, it would start following you, and then attack you. And if you don't dodge in time, I spent a lot of time working on the audio for the crane. I wanted it to sound huge and lumbering, so I added dynamic wind effects when it swoops over your head, as well as mechanical whirring when it extends or retracts its arm. The claws make an audible clang when they close, and before it attacks you, it growls in anticipation. I had to pick a base for the bottom of the crane, but I didn't want to do the traditional treads, so I opted for a fleshy mass of pulsating meat. It's gross and it's dripping blood everywhere, and I like it. The plot that connects this level to the previous level is that you're driving away from the junkyard and the enemy car follows you. You run out of fuel, so you pull into the worksite to try and find some gas. Unfortunately though, I didn't have enough time to make that cutscene. And with that, I was out of time for week 2. Time for judging.
Man, it was super tough trying to figure out who to eliminate this week because all the games are so fun. Rug's game, I loved the verticality of your game with the new boss. I felt like a rat in a maze because I was constantly looking up, and it was like a really cool next chapter that you iterated on.
I actually love the concept that you did with your next boss. It was very cool to actually try and run around avoiding that crane. But I noticed that you even put in such tiny details like the sound effect and animation when the crane's eye is just looking for you. That was really cool to see, and it made the whole experience like a lot more fun and even more immersive as well.
Then it was announced who was moving on to the next week. And I did not make it. The judges liked the other games more than mine. But over the course of the challenge, I fell in love with the game I was making. I was inspired by the enemy designs, the story, and I felt like I had to continue it even if I got eliminated. At the end of my week 2 recap video, I had promised the audience that if I continued to the next week, I would add a boss fight against this massive excavator. So that's what I did. I started by building out the new level, the Quarry. It needed steep walls and heavy snowfall. The environment is made out of partially crushed rocks, evidence that something started here but was never finished. The king of the quarry is the excavator. Its organic element is its many mouths it uses to feed, and its human appendages it uses to pull itself along the ground. Once harnessed for its power by humans, it was abandoned and lies dormant in the snow until you awaken it. I'm still not done with Killer Junkyard. I've spent the past few months adding new features and converting the entire game to use a custom level editor so that players can create their own levels and share them on the Steam Workshop. It's taken a ton of work, but I think it'll be worth it to see what kinds of cool stuff you guys cook up. If you've made it this far into the video, please wishlist Killer Junkyard on Steam. You get notified when it releases, and it bumps it up a lot in the Steam algorithm. There's a link in the description if you're interested. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see what's coming in the future for Killer Junkyard, and thank you for watching.